So, as you guys know, the Proteas have qualified for the World Cup, and on today's daily show, we're going to be discussing the details surrounding it, how it happened, etc., and what was the case with regards to the Proteas now moving forward. What we think that should happen with the planning, maybe a little bit of talk about some players that should be on the fringes getting in, or some players that we think that should be in the squad for the World Cup, and leading into that Australia series, of course, before we go to that World Cup. But before we get going, before we get started, there's a couple of things I love you guys to please do. Please subscribe to the channel. Please click that notification bell for all future videos. 40% of you guys are watching and not subscribing out of the 100 people that are obviously 100% of you guys are watching. Only 40% of you guys are watching the shows, all the shows, but you're not subscribing. And it's 100% free. So please subscribe. And also smash the like button. It's free, guys. So go ahead and smash the like button when you can. And if you can, please, it will really help us a lot on this channel. Then also, I would like you guys to please download the latest issue of Cricket Fanatics magazine monthly. Every issue is 100% free, straight to your inbox every month. The link is on the screen right now, as well as in the description. And then the only help that we need from you guys is to become patrons, please, today. Link is on the screen as well as in the description. Very important that you guys do that if you want us to keep going with regards to all of the content that we are doing over here. And if you want to help us out with regards to our content, guys, and the people that are helping us out with content, and you want to help us help them too, and please help us out by becoming a patron today. Not a lot of money, guys. You can choose a tier that suits your budget. And then also, I would like you guys to go to cricketfanaticsmag.com for all regular updates. So, without further ado, let's get straight into today's video. I'm looking forward to discussing this with you guys. Fanatics Magazine. This is your daily show. I'm your host Khalid Mohidin, and this is the show where we talk about all the major talking points in South African cricket. Now, today we're obviously going to be talking about the Proteas World Cup qualification that has officially been confirmed. And I'm going to read to you guys out a little article that we did on the website to give you an understanding of what took place in this World Cup qualification. So the Proteas have qualified for the 2023 ICC Men's Cricket World Cup by finishing in the top seven of the ICC Men's Cricket World Cup Super League. The Super League is a qualification tournament for the World Cup, and it involves the top 13 teams in the world playing bilateral ODI series against each other. The top seven teams at the end of the Super League automatically qualify for the World Cup, which is scheduled to take place in India in 2023. South Africa finished in third place in the Super League standings behind England and India. They won 10 out of their 14 matches with four series wins and two losses. Whereas have strong track record in World Cup tournaments, having reached the semi-finals in four of the last seven editions. But we've never won one, so that's a tongue-in-cheek one. They will be hoping to go all the way, of course, in the trophy for the first time in 2023. But with regards to with regards to took place in the actual qualification process and everything that took place, um, it's very interesting because South Africa is not necessarily wasn't looking like they were going to qualify. It was something that was we were all scared about. Some of us were a little bit worried, but others thought it would be a good thing. Now, I'm going to be getting a friend on the show a little bit later to discuss this a little bit more in depth. But there is some details that we need to know. South Africa cannot be overtaken. So what happened was that they placed at the 50 over global competition in October, which is in November, and October was confirmed. After the first ODI between Ireland and Bangladesh on Tuesday ended in a no result. So that was rained out. On account of the weather, the Irish had to win all three matches in the series in order to keep their chances alive in their hopes of automatic qualification. South Africa now cannot be overtaken by anyone in the ICC Cricket World Cup Super League, the qualification tournament, and have secured the eighth and final qualification berth. So, okay, I need to change that a little bit within the article as well, because we finished eighth in the tournament. That is something that needs to be changed. I missed wrote that one over there in this article. But we do have some quotes that were given by Temba Bavuma, the captain. He says, if I look at the journey, it's been a tricky one for the 50 over team to get to this point. But I think looking at the last couple of months, a lot of positive strides have been made as a team. We are all positioned to build on the momentum and confidence that we've gained. Now, in the perfect opportunity for us to really focus on the World Cup from a preparation point of view, nail down on our plans and brush up on areas that we feel we need to brush up on. Personally, it will be a major honor and privilege for me to be leading the team in my first 50 over World Cup, and I hope we can achieve some good things as a team. So that's some of the quotes from Timba Bavuma. Let me get Ongama on the show. Welcome to the show, bro. Really awesome to be able to catch up with you. So, first and foremost, your thoughts on South Africa now qualifying, because I mean, amongst fans, we've had a lot of conversations, and I think leading up to this, we kind of conceded that we probably wouldn't, or we were preparing ourselves for the possibility of us not qualifying. And a lot of fans were saying that maybe it's a good thing. Maybe it's a good opportunity for South Africa to maybe get some games under their belt, because we don't play as many games as other nations. So it would have kind of been a good way for us to be able to prepare by playing those qualifiers. What's your thoughts on it? I know that you also did an exclusive with Rob Walter on IRL. So can you give me maybe some insight into what you think about the qualification first and foremost?
Yeah, 100% there, Khalid. So it was a huge relief for myself and for the majority of the country. The fact that we avoided those Zimbabwe World Cup qualifiers. Such a huge relief, man. We needed like a lot of things to work in our favor, actually. I remember even the Sri Lanka series, Sri Lanka New Zealand series, had a potential of actually affecting us, but everything in the end went in our favor. So huge relief for myself. Even like speaking to Rob Walter earlier today, he was saying it as a huge relief for them as well, and the players, because they can sort of control their preparations now, control the whole environment, because most of these guys are going to come back from the IPL. Some of them are not signed in the MLB, in the major league competition that's going to happen right after the IPL. So that's the sort of mentality that I gathered from Rob Walter. The fact that they hugely relieved now, but at the very same time, in the very same breath, what Rob Walter stressed was the fact that um, he wasn't going to be too heartbroken had we gone to Zimbabwe, because those are like 5, 7 extra one-day international games right before the World Cup, so it was going to be it was going to play like a huge role or a huge part in preparation of the team, and it was even going to get better by the fact that we have Australia coming in August and September, so huge relief, Khalid. I think this was going to be the first time South African team went to the World Cup qualifiers. So
Mm.
yeah, we got away. We got away on this one. We're very lucky.
Yeah. I mean, on this channel, we haven't yet interviewed Rob Walter, but we've obviously gave some information with regards to press conferences, etc. But what was your experience interviewing him, talking to him? What was your vibe? Because normally you have a very good sense of mentality when you listen, when you do your interviews. You get a sense of the coach's mentality or player's mentality. So, talking to him, what was it like? What was the experience like?
Yeah, it was great, man. Because I even told him that the main reason I called him, I asked for the interview was for myself actually, to get some of the questions that I have answered, to get some sort of understanding, not necessarily to write articles and put it out there in the world. It was just for me to understand. So it was a very good cricket chat, man. I really enjoyed it this morning. Chilled guy. One thing that I picked up as far as the World Cup is concerned and his coaching style is concerned is the fact that this guy really knows his stuff. So they had already had plans for Plan A and Plan B. had things gone wrong, or had things led us to having to go to Zimbabwe, there was a set plan for that. I mean, even right now, there's a camp in Pretoria, where some of the guys who are not in the IPL or are already preparing for the World Cup. So he's one of those guys, man. Preparation is absolutely everything to him. So
Hmm.
absolutely enjoyed the chat, man. Yeah.
Is there any insight you can give us into the thought processes, or the what is where his mind is at the moment? I mean, um, obviously you guys can read the full article on IOL. I'm showing you guys on the screen right now. Um, and please go read it and support Ungama's writing as well. So is there any some insight, or maybe some things that you can give us, maybe that you learned from the conversation itself?
It's just the fact that these guys analyze everything. They don't leave any stone
Mm.
unturned. That's the sort of vibe that I got from him. Just talking to him and picking his mind. He knows exactly what he needs to do with the team to try and get them to where he wants them to be, as far as playing style is concerned, as far as guys understanding their roles. And is someone who follows a lot of cricket, because he's um, very much involved in the IPL, not necessarily like hands on, but he watches the game. He keeps them in touch with his players, the Lungis, the fact that he's not playing. Rob Walter took note of that as well, and he sees it working in the favor of South Africa. There's a lot of things, man, that I picked up from the mentality of the guy. He's just one of those guys that are super, super focused on preparation. And to be honest with you, looking at the position that he came in, where the team was at the time, having
Mm.
lost a number of one day games in the Super League points. I think we're at like 11th at some point
Yes.
in the ODI Super League. So he came in at a very difficult position. He's done extremely well to sort of get the guys to understand what they need to do. And I think we saw that, man, during the Netherlands series. So yeah,
Mhm.
that's what I gathered from the conversation that I had with Rob.
Yeah. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about the ODI squad over here, and some of the things that we'd like to see maybe on Gamma, because I mean, it is in India, we know that, and you know, for a lot of people there's been, especially after the exclusive I did with George Linder, a lot of people obviously are talking about him maybe making that squad, and I kind of look at it, and I think it isn't a bad call at all. Currently we're sitting with a situation where we're unsure about where Keshafi is at the moment, with regards to his injury. We have Bjorn Fortuin already doing great things, but having a spinner that can bat, for example, or an all-rounder in the team, it's a very good asset to have in any ODI team, whether we're playing in India or not. So let's just talk a little bit about the squad and where they're at. I mean, I think that me personally, I think I've seen a lot of improvement with regards to it, particularly the top order. I mean, with Temba Bavuma, even Aiden Markram, um, really standing up in white ball cricket and showing that they are coming to the party at the right time. We've been waiting for Aiden, for example, to show what he's capable of, for a very long time. And the guys that usually used to put up their hands and perform, like Rassie van der Dis and Quinton de Kock, they are the ones that are currently not in the best of form. So with the current squad that we currently have, we can kind of probably name that squad pretty easily. We know Quinton de Kock will probably be there. We know that Temba will be there. We know that Aiden will be there. We probably know that Rassie will be in that squad. Andy Klaassen, David Miller, the likes of um, uh, Kagiso Rabada, Anrik Nokia, I mean Marco Janssen possibly. But I think maybe the main question marks will probably be around that all-rounder slot. So where do you think we should go, with our all-rounders coming to with when it comes to South African cricket currently?
Yeah, I agree with you there. It's a very settled squad. I don't think we even though I would really like to see a couple of surprises. And you're mentioning like someone like George Linda, for example. And looking at the two guys, him and Bjorn has improved immensely in domestic cricket. He really really deserves that call up into that ODI squad. After obviously Keshav got injured, but just like the way that George Linda plays, that the tempo at which he plays it is on another level, to be honest with you. So that's another addition, especially when you're going to India. You do need that sort of muscle. Going into India, you know that you have like someone betting at number 8 or number 7 in George Linda. Whatever score you need at a high strike rate, he can always deliver that. And you can almost sort of play around with the top order when you have someone like George Linda. He can bet literally anywhere depending on the game situation. So that's one of the surprises that I would like to see, actually. And one of the biggest surprises, like everyone else in the world right now is anticipating, is that of Faf du Plessis. So, but just sticking to your question before we get to that, because I'm sure we ultimately
Yeah.
gonna get to Faf. Yeah. So as far as the all-rounders, I think George would be literally the only surprise that I would like to see in that squad. But obviously it is gonna unsettle actually
Mm.
a few things in the team. But I think it's a settled squad. We all know the majority of the squad, but I would really like to see one or two guys that have that bit of extra X factor, to
Mm.
come into the squad and just make sure that we are a well-rounded team in India come October.
Yeah, because when I look at some of the all rounders that we do have available and that we've seen play, I mean, I've been pretty impressed with Sasanda Magala, now getting more game time. I've been impressed with Marco Jansen every time he gets an opportunity to play for South Africa in any format. He always looks like he's up for the challenge and he has the right mentality. And then, of course, you've got Wayne Parnell back in the mix again. So, where are you standing with regards to those names? Who do you think is currently the best, like you could say, bowling all rounder currently? Because we are still looking for that batting all rounder mold in this team to strengthen that tail and lengthen the tail.
Yeah.
I mean, to shorten the tail.
For
Sorry,
me,
actually, to shorten the tail.
yeah. For me, I'm taking all those three guys with me to India for the World Cup. I'm taking all those three guys because they all can play like very important roles in the team. I mean, like if you have someone like Sasanda Makala and you need like that extra bit of batting, you can always drop a fast bowler because you know that Sasanda Magala is going to close that fast bowler gap that is left in the team. And
Mhm.
for me, Marco Jansen is just one of those undroppable players. It's good competition, man, in the squad, within the squad, especially when it comes to the all rounders. But for me, I'm taking all those three guys with me to India. Because they all offer like different things that can be extremely useful in India. I mean, someone like Wayne Parnell right now is playing in India, is exposed to the conditions, exposed to high intensity, and he's got like, wasn't he in the World Cup squad 2011? Wayne Parnell. I think him and Lonwabo Totobe
Mm.
were there, and you do ultimately need that experience. And looking at the team that we have, a majority of them don't necessarily have like 50 over World Cup experience. I mean, our captain is going to be playing his first 50 over World Cup competition, and it's just different pressures. So I'm definitely taking those three guys with me to the World Cup. Otherwise, I'm loving that competition within the squad,
Yeah.
especially when it comes to that all-round.
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple of players I spoke to recently that have spoken about the competition. I mean, George specifically mentioned it with the amount of quality spinners we have currently. He likes the fact that there's so many available because it makes them up their game and keep stay on their toes. I mean, I've listened to quite a few podcasts recently about performance and mentality, and players generally in high performance spaces always talk about having a environment that thrives, because an environment of professionals that thrive and that have a work ethic and that have a drive, because it makes them better as players. So I mean, do you agree with those statements?
Absolutely, man. I think we are seeing the same thing happen when it comes to the Lucknow Super Giants, when it comes to Quintin, Karl Myers, and Nicholas Puran. I mean, I don't necessarily think. I mean, we all know the quality that Quinton de Kock has, but in the past couple of years, we've always picked up some sort of complacency in his game. Hence
Yeah.
he always gets these great starts, but doesn't necessarily go on and convert into big scores. So that could
Mhm.
be because of the fact that he's one of those guys that walk into the team, regardless of what he did the previous series. So seeing him sort of have to fight for a spot in a team. I think that's the first time Quinton de Kock has been exposed to something like that in his career. So it's always good, man, to have that competition in the team, to keep everyone on their toes, and just to understand that um, just because you took a five at last game or last series, that does not necessarily mean you're going to get game time the next game. So I'm loving it.
Yeah,
I'm absolutely loving it, and I see more of that, man, even in the batting lineup as well. So the
yeah,
squad is in a very good position at the moment. I'm just hoping that maybe we can add some bit of experience in that squad, man, because the World Cup pressure is just next level, you know.
yeah. I mean, we need to get find a way on how to get over that hurdle of losing pressure situations, especially in 50 over in World Cups in general. I mean, there's a reason why we haven't won World Cups in so many times, but we also at the same time have to not go with that baggage as well. We always hear that word baggage. 2019 World Cup, all that was spoken about was this baggage of the C word, the chokers tag, that comes up every single World Cup campaign. And in 2019 World Cup, that was one of the main talking points in the press conferences leading up to it. So I hope they don't go with too much of that focus and they free it up. It does seem like that there's been a lot of work within the culture of the Proteas setup on mentality, which I'm
Mm.
really liking, and that I'm seeing that. And you also confirmed that with your conversation with Rob Walter.
Yeah, but ultimately, that's the pressure that's going to come. We can't avoid that.
Mm,
That's going to be all over the media. That's going to be the one thing that the players, the coaches, everyone involved are going to see when they look at their phones, when they're hearing people having conversations. It's going to come up. The chokers tag. It's going to come up. But then, what do we do about it this time around?
mhm.
So that's what more interested in. It's something that we can't avoid, man.
Yeah. So Amit makes a good point. He says not playing qualifiers means no international games before 30 August. Not a good strategy, and experiments in last series before World Cup is usually not recommended. So we can say squad is already sure. And I think we can say the squad is already sure because of the results we've gotten too. I mean, we had a good series against England. I think a good series against the Netherlands. Okay, the West Indies was a tough one. But yeah, do you agree with these sentiments? I mean, keeping a strong core, because I mean this team is starting to really build a culture and ethos amongst and mentality over here. I mean, like we can't say it's a winning mentality until they win things like actual trophies, etc. Um, but like I mean, that's why I can't understand certain comments that were thrown around Arsenal that they have a winning mentality now, even though this team hasn't won any trophies this
Please,
season.
man. Please don't do that.
But like we need to win something before we can really qualify it to be called a winning mentality. But there is something brewing here. I mean, there's definitely a positivity around this team and the culture and the camp.
Mm, absolutely, and this is a conversation that I was having with Rob as well earlier this morning. I think as much as Amit is spot on here in terms of the fact that it's we don't have we're not gonna get like a lot of game time before the World Cup. That's true, but it's also true that these guys are gonna be spending a lot of time together through these camps. They're gonna understand exactly what roles the coaches want them to play, how they want them to play. There's gonna be a lot of good things, man, from the time that these guys are going to spend together training and understanding what needs to be done, the team culture. Now is the time for the team to really sit down and ask themselves questions. What is the identity of the team? And I think it's a perfect opportunity for the guys to do that, for Temba to make sure that everyone knows where they stand and what he expects from them, and how he wants the team to gel. So it's true, we're not going to have a lot of international games, but at the very same time, it's going to do wonders for us. That's what I see. I don't know if I'm too hopeful, but that's what I see happening from these 2 months that we have before the World Cup, 3 months.
Yeah, okay. So we're gonna deal something. You dropped a little Easter egg in something that you said a little bit earlier on, and Yash has asked it actually in the live chat. He says, should we select Faf in the World Cup 2023 because he's playing so well in Indian pitches? So I'm gonna start here, Ongama. I've made comments about this already. Faf is doing excellently in the IPL in T20 cricket currently. In fact, in his last couple of in the last year or so, he's been doing really well in T20 cricket in general. In For me personally, I don't compare T20 cricket to ODIs ever. I think there's more similarities in Test cricket and the way Test cricket is going now with this fast-paced Test cricket that we are seeing these days. I think that there's more similarities in Test cricket in ODIs than in T20s to ODIs because of the intensity that you're playing. You're playing more overs, you're batting more overs, spending more time at the crease. The mentality to switch on is a little bit different. The way you approach it is different. And Faf is getting older now. We can see that he's fit and we can see that he is healthy. But I think that he's conditioned to play T20 cricket at the moment. And I don't think that there's enough games for him to come in, get familiar with the ODI squad, the team, etc., play some ODI games leading up to this to be selected just in that squad right now where we are sitting. If we made this decision at the beginning of the season and said, look here, Faf, we're gonna implement Faf or bring him back within to the squad and the culture, etc., then I'd be okay with it. Because I mean, I know he's experienced in India, I know he's experienced heartbreak with South Africa as well. But I'd like to hear your thoughts on Faf du Plessis. I mean, for me, the formats aren't the same. So I'd pick him in a T20 World Cup squad definitely, but I'm not so sure. I'm almost 70-30 on Faf for a ODI call up. I mean, I wouldn't even say that. I would actually say I'm 60-40 currently. 60 against it, 40 pro it, based on experience alone. I mean, I don't think experience alone should give you be a reason for you to disrupt a squad or bring someone new in there. Well, what's your thoughts on Faf and the 2023 World Cup in India?
Yeah, key word there that you said there, Khalid, disrupt the team. I think that's the major thing when it comes to Faf du Plessis right now. The performances, the experience, and everything else works in his favor, but it's just going to unsettle the squad, And it's something that I did raise with Rob, and he has the same thinking as you actually that T20 cricket is something totally different from 50 over cricket, But what
Okay.
stands out for me, Khalid, in the orange cap. Period that Faf du Plessis is in right now, what really stands out for me is his ability to adapt. If you look at some of his innings, there's innings that where he
Mm,
scored 44 or 40 deliveries, and then some innings he scores 85 for 40, 85 for 50.
mhm,
So I think that is the big thing that we need to look at when it comes to Faf du Plessis and 50 over cricket. The fact that he can adapt, he can read conditions and adapt very quickly. Actually, I think that for me sort of makes me want to see him in this ODI squad, as soon as possible. Um, the fact that we know that this guy is hungry, we know that this guy has all the experience, and I don't think is gonna do a lot of damage in terms of unsettling the team because everyone else in the team knows Faf. They've played with Faf. They know what Faf is about. So it's almost a seamless inclusion into the ODI squad for me. Obviously, it's going to come at someone's cost. Someone is going to be dropped for Faf to be in that ODI squad. But the one thing that I want to highlight is the fact that when it comes to reading the game, and I mean, even Ashwell Prince mentioned this in his thread, I mean, on social media, that this guy has a very deep understanding of his game. So when you have an individual like that, despite that is showing all these qualities in T20 cricket, this is something that he can also apply in one-day cricket. So when it
mhm.
comes to pacing his innings, reading conditions, I think this guy could play an extreme role in that batting order of ours. It doesn't necessarily have to play each and every game. No one actually deserves to play each and every game. Whatever is going to work for us in a particular game in those conditions against an opposition. So I think for me, it's tricky because I don't want to see anyone dropped. I think these guys that are in the team right now, they've fought really really hard, man. And
Yeah.
yeah, but it's professional sport. Whatever is gonna put us at an advantage as far as winning the World
Mm.
Cup, that's something that I'm leaning towards. And for me, it looks like Faf is getting us closer, improving our chances of the World Cup at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, it would be interesting to see who drops out there. It'll most likely probably be someone like Riza again, that is a fall guy even after a great domestic season. My problem is also he hasn't necessarily played much 50 over cricket in general in the last couple of years. I see Gaurav saying everyone is saying that Faf shouldn't be there because he hasn't played ODI since a long time. Same goes for George Linder. He hasn't played ODIs for 2 years, but he's played 50 over cricket. There's a different type of conditioning and fitness that you need to play 50 over cricket compared to T20 cricket. That's why you would see certain players would be able to play a full season of T20 cricket, but they wouldn't be past fit to play for ODIs, for example, or 50 over games, or even 4-day games. There's a different type of intensity, mentality, concentration, and fitness and conditioning that you need to be able to play 50 over cricket. Particularly, I think, as a even whether you're a bowler or a batter, because I mean you're bowling more overs, you're batting more overs. The intensity is completely different. So I wouldn't be completely against it if they make the decision, because I know what Faf brings to the team. But I do feel that there will be someone that unlucky to miss out. Let's look at this squad that I mean put here, because I actually agree with majority of the names here. So when you look at these names here, Ongama, if you had to bring Faf into this team, into this squad, who misses out?
This is very tough. It's very tough, man. But hey, man, it's if Faf has to squeeze in here, it has to be Riza. Unfortunately, I know, man. I mean, the guy missed out in 2019. I was so furious about that, and he missed out on similar grounds, experience in Hashim Amla, and all those types of things, which we're saying again this time around. 2023 World Cup coming around the corner. So for me, it has to be him, man. It is what it is. And another thing that I don't want us to forget, man, is that when Faf gets into the team, whether he captains or not, the environment, just the energy changes. Even the younger guys in the team, they wanna play for this guy. They wanna impress this guy. So like all those things, they come to the table. All those things matter to me, in terms of what this guy is gonna bring into the team. Put the experience aside, but the respect that this guy has earned over the years, the achievements that he's had, his leadership and everything. It's just going to it's just going to take the team environment to another level. That's what I think, and that's what I think makes him like super valuable into this team. Especially for a World Cup in India.
Mhm. So I'm going to read some of the live chats. I'm not going to respond to all of them unless there are questions. So Deva Brevis and Tristan Stubbs has been playing IPL and experience of Indian conditions, so they should be also included, says Aruna, along with Gerald Kutsia, he says, and many others. Um, Gaurav says, I don't think we should include Abada. He has been average since a long time and he hasn't improved. He is playing on a reputation, says Gaurav. Dick says the current ODI side is very well settled. I don't think we need Faf, says Dex. Lichle says, who will sit out if Faf comes in the stop order, which we just answered. He says Quinton de Kock, Pavuma, Rasif van der Dussen, Markram, Klaassen, and Miller, which I think should be our top six. Me personally, I mean, there's even a possibility, and obviously, I think we should have three spinners, and that's why I would like George Linde in the squad. Aruna says Solanki. He says Yanaman Malan. Yanaman has had a very difficult domestic season this season. That's why he hasn't necessarily been in any teams. I mean, also he had a very difficult SA20. Um, Gaurav said we did the mistake by not including Faf in both T20 World Cup, in the same mistake again. Lawrence says Faf for Cricket World Cup 2023 will most probably not happen. Recent discussions that makes the round speaks more to make a T20 return in 2024 T20 World Cup next year. I favor him coming back in the T20 squad. That makes total sense for him to come back in the T20 team, in my opinion. Um, so yeah, that's something
Who
that I
misses
do.
out in that T20 squad? Who misses out
Hey,
for Faf in that T20 squad?
the T20 squad
Mhm. Because
for me,
that's another almost settled squad. Riza is performing at the top of the order. Quinton de Kock just smashed 100 right now against the West Indies in Centurion.
it's Riley for
Who
me,
misses
bro.
out for Faf?
It's
Riley.
Riley Russell for me. Yeah, I don't think Riley Rousseau, me personally, I don't think Riley Rousseau has been consistent enough in all formats. I mean, not in all tournaments. SA20, IPL, Proteas. I know he scored a 90 and 200s in the amount of games he's played, but I don't feel comfortable having a sporadic number three. I want
Mm,
consistency from my number three. I mean, look at Sky Yadav as a number three. Almost every single
mm,
game he comes off with a top notch score. Whether it is 40 or 45 of 20 balls, or whether it's 100 of 50 balls, he's always scoring at a good rate and consistently doing so. Um,
mm,
so for me, consistency is important. That's nothing against Riley Rousseau. I still think he adds value to the squad if Faf isn't available. So if Faf isn't available, I'll go with him. But if Faf is available, that's my guy at three. I mean, I would play Faf at three, or I would open with Faf and then bat Riza at three. Even it's a possibility as well. You don't also want to maybe mess around with a with a good partnership that's been building between Riza and Quinny. But I think but I think Faf is adaptable enough to bat at three for the Proteas, in my opinion. But um, what's your thoughts on that?
yeah, as a number three, Faf can slot in as a number three, man. The guy is versatile, So I got no complaints with that. With this current squad, with Riza, the form that he's been in, it deserves it, man. An extended run at that position. It will be so
Mhm.
unfair for us to just
Yeah,
do otherwise.
yeah, it would be. Yeah. Gaurav makes a very controversial statement. Drop Quinton de Kock because he struggles against spin and would throw his wicket away. He hasn't performed in the World Cup ever, which is a fact. We can't hide away from the fact. Quinton de Kock hasn't necessarily been a very good tournament player. Um, when it comes to big World Cups, he hasn't necessarily come to the party. Do you feel that Quinton de Kock has in the recent times earned the tag of being undroppable? Because in my opinion, I don't believe that anybody is undroppable and should be
Mm, mm,
undroppable.
mm. Yeah, like I said, man, when it comes to Queenie, there's been um, some complacency that I sensed, with his game. But I think that is changing right now, especially with him not playing for a full month in the IPL. Like that innings that where he scored 70 or 41 last week, it was a totally different Quinton. So for me, I know he hasn't performed in the World Cups and so forth, but I think we're gonna get a different Quinton right now. After this experience, I mean, like I said, I think this is the first time in his career where he's actually getting competition, for a spot in the team. It's always been that situation where he's the main guy. We're only changing his opening partners. So I think we're gonna see a Quinton de Kock man from this point.
Mhm. Yash says Quinton Cock can't be dropped. He's one of the best ODI players. And Corsi says Faf is in form and it will be difficult to leave him out, but for consistency in selection, leave him out. Then Lawrence says we must stop asking who Faf will replace. Why not add Faf with the others? Good competition and depth, which is very important in the tournament cricket. It's because you can only select a squad of 15 players. That's why you can't select more than that. There's rules around the ICC and how big your squads can be. So by basic logic, you have to drop someone to bring Faf into the team. It's just how it is. Um, guys, we are failing to produce wrist spinners in South Africa. Is CSA doing enough to produce a variety of spinners? Seems like we produce left arm spinners. We do. That's how it currently looks at the
That is
moment. I mean, Ungama, who are some of the young wrist spinners that maybe have stood out to you?
that is a great observation there, Lishe. It's something
Hmm.
that I've been thinking about for a long time. I mean, after Tabraz Jamzi, we've got two other left Chinamen in this country. It's Lizo Makosi and Thomas Kaba, who just signed
Yeah,
with SWD recently.
yeah.
Those are the two guys, only two guys actually. Caleb Seleka, Respina,
Sia Mahima
right.
as well, I think, is a left arm wrist spinner. Junaid
No, he's
Dawood.
an offie
Is it
actually.
orthodox? Is it offie?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, Junaid Dawood is a wrist spinner, but hasn't really gotten much game time. Then we've got
Hmm.
Deva Brevis, maybe that you can maybe throw into the mix that he's working on his spinning there and he's a spin. There aren't
Mm.
many, eh? These a
It,
problem in South
it,
African cricket currently.
it looks like there isn't a plan. There isn't a succession plan for someone like Tabraz Shamsi, because if there
Mhm.
was a succession plan, I think a lot would have been done in terms of um, taking someone like Lizo Makosi to the next level, as far as giving him opportunities, spinning camps, and so forth. None of those things have happened after he had that T20 competition with the Warriors in Durban during COVID. I know a lot of things have happened, but take for instance someone like Siyama at the Rocks. He didn't play the entire season last season,
Yeah,
but the fact
injured.
that
Yeah.
the Rocks are being led by someone like James Fontaine, who knows and understands cricket, he knows that this is a guy that if we stick with, if we motivate and actually invest in this guy, he's going to come right. He's going to lose the weight. He's going to pass those time trials, and what he's going to bring into the table when it comes to him playing, it's going to be unmatched. Because to be honest, I think um, Siyama before last season, he was like one of the top spinners in the country,
Yeah.
by a mile, especially white ball cricket, T20 cricket. Actually, I remember
Mhm.
them winning that T20 challenge in PE a couple of seasons ago. It was a big part of that as well, Siyama. So, yeah, man, it doesn't. Lisa, that was a great observation. It doesn't look like we have any plans for that, despite all this the spinning camps that we've been having with Paul Adams and all these guys. You know.
Mhm. This would be a good thing for me to actually try and get someone on the show sometime to actually speak to them about the development of wrist spinners and how we can produce more, because it is a problem in South African cricket. But I guess that's also because not a lot of spinners at school level either. You don't see a lot of wrist spinners coming through the system. From a majority of the bowlers coming through off spinners, either left arm orthodox bowlers or right arm off spinners. So we don't necessarily see a lot of wrist spinners come through on a regular basis. I mean, we got lucky with Imran Tahir. Um, we got very lucky with him, and we got lucky that someone like Shamsi looked up to someone like Imran, and came through. I have big hopes for. I've always had big hopes for Junaid Dawood. I mean, he is a wrist spinner.
Mm.
He's now moved. I
To
think
the
he's now moved
Lions.
provinces to the Lions now. So I don't know how much
I
game
don't see
time he's
how he's
gonna
gonna
get
get
there.
game time there.
Yeah, I don't know how he's gonna get game time there. I think I'm not so sure, but we'll see what happens in the pipeline right now.
I think the
Uh,
same thing can be said. Sorry, Khalid. I think the same thing can be said when it comes to fast bowling in the country. We're always complaining about the fact that we're not producing guys who can bowl quickly. Except for Gerald. Who else in the domestic circuit do you know bowls 140, 145 plus, like someone like Gerald Coetzee? I think there's the same thing could be said about that. I'm not sure if we are really investing, on these guys. I mean, I was watching someone like Tlakanipo Mpungose, who was playing for the Knights, still contracted with the Knights. When the Knights got relegated, he's not going to play Division 2 cricket. Why hasn't like someone maybe at the Warriors or whichever Division 1 team take someone like that, keep him in Division 1 cricket, and just motivate the guy and build the guy, because he does have genuine pace. I was watching him blow away Matthew Bretzke, Jordan Herman, that strong Warriors batting attack. So I don't necessarily think we are really investing as much as we should to sort of solve these problems that we see that are happening. Because fast bowling is one of those
mhm.
problems where we are not really up to standard.
Yeah, there was a young fast bowler that I saw at Colsweek, Josh Stevenson. That was there was a lot. He was brilliant, but he's now decided to go. I think he's studying medicine. I think it's either
Hmm.
medicine or engineering, one of the two. So we lost him
Hmm.
to another profession, unfortunately, because of the money
Hmm.
problems in cricket. I mean, if South Africa could have given him, if South Africa could pay their players, their professional players, a lot
Hmm.
more, we might have been able to hold on to him.
Yeah.
Even if you look at the top fast bowlers from last season, the guys like Bayer Swanepoel, they don't bowl 140.
Mhm.
Top wicket taker in the tournament didn't bowl
What a
140,
what a
doesn't bowl
talent.
140.
Mhm.
Yeah, what a talent as well. A very good player. I mean, go check out exclusive on this channel, guys, of Bayer Swanepoel. We got some excellent insight from him. And then we've got your likes of Rwanda Swat that can maybe hit the 140 mark. Then you've
Mhm.
got your likes of Lifa and Tanzu, who can bowl 150 but has
What
had a lot
happened?
of
What
injury.
happened to Lifa? Why did Lifa not play for the Dolphins?
Lifa
What was happening?
Leaf Lifa is injuries. He was injured for a long, long time. Every single time I've tried to chat to him, he had an injury. So a large
Mm.
portion of it was the fact that he was out for a very long time and then just couldn't get himself back in time. And then
Am I am I
by the
am I
time
the
he
only one, Khalid?
was in the
Am I the
yeah.
sorry? Am I the only one who's seeing the sort of laziness even from these franchises in terms of actually going out there and looking for talent? As if you look at some of the especially black fast bowlers in domestic cricket, they've been playing one season here, one season there, and I think that's partly because of the franchises who don't necessarily do the work and try and find talent. As we see, like someone like Alfred Mutua has signed with the Warriors right now, and all due respect to the man, he's done well, reasonably well, but I mean, there's a lot of younger fast bowlers that we could have invested in.
Yeah,
Um,
I mean, we
you
see
know,
guys move around all the time.
Adi
Kalibu
Bukako
Kako,
as well.
Onke Nyako.
You
We
know,
see what's happened to someone like Mtinabe. He moves around everywhere. Like they
Akona
don't really
Mnyaka
find
as
a
well.
place. Akone Manyaka had a very high ceiling when he came through the young youth system. I remember him cleaning up at Coke Week. So like, I mean, we've got Mapaka now, but he's still a kid. So like, yeah, there needs to be some more development done with players. And now we've lost Vernie Barnes as well. So who was the prime scout for that. He had an eye for fast bowlers. He knew he could instantly see when a player was going to be someone. And now we've lost him in high performance academies as well. So he's not part of. He's retired. So it's now going to be crunch time for them to start putting things in place and scouting systems in place to be able to find the next generation of talent consistently. Um, let's get into some more chats over here. Uh, if Parnell plays, then Magalo and Gidi may miss out, so it's better to keep Parnell out as he can't bowl when the ball gets old, says Anit. Lichler says, remember, guys, the Cock is a senior player. Ain't no way he's going to be dropped, which I fully understand, yes. Stubbs shouldn't be picked. He hasn't done anything, says Gorav. Lawrence is Riza and Miller, who has been consistent enough in the T20 side, though maybe Markram. Who's going to be our head coach? Anyone knows? Rob Walter is our head coach. I don't know who you're talking about. If you're talking about South Africa, it's Rob Walter and Shukri Conrad that are our head coaches. Test cricket, Shukri and Rob Walter. White ball cricket. Guys, we mustn't also assume that everybody on Cricket Fanatics that joins this is going to be an expert on cricket as well. So I don't know if, if you are one of them that maybe is a new fan. Isn't Liam Aldo a spinner? No, he's not. According to my understanding, he's a slow left arm orthodox bowler. From what I know, I think Shamshi should be dropped because he has been average. Also, teams attack him, says Gorav. Prince O'Brien is probably the best uncapped out and out spinner in the country. Offie, though, says Lawrence. Particularly in 4-day cricket, I agree with you. What is the update on Keshav? I am not sure. Ngama, have you heard anything on Keshav's recovery yet?
No, I haven't heard anything, but in my understanding, it would be a miracle for him to
Yeah,
recover for the World Cup.
especially from an Achilles injury like that. Gee was.
Yeah.
Yeah. Lauren saying to Pavlon, Bartman, Moreki, Nandre, there's a few that need to show more consistency as well. I mean, Bartman has a good case, but he doesn't bowl 150. The Pavlon doesn't bowl 150. Moreki doesn't bowl 150. And Nandre Burger sometimes hits 150. So if we're looking for
Mm.
the next Gerald Kutsia and the next Andrich Nokia and Dale Steins of the world and Rapadas of the world when he was still in his prime, I mean, he should be in his prime now. I don't know what happened to his pace. But if we're looking for those next generations, we probably would have to go with Matthew Post, Aishel Kluti, Lifa and Tanzi. Those are the names that pop off in my head that bowl that pace that I know of offhand that can go
What happened?
140s.
What
Yeah, bro.
happened to Luto? What happened to Luto Sipamla and his pace? What has been happening in this country? The man has moved from when he
I
made
don't.
his test debut, I remember bowling at the high 130s, early 140s, to all of a sudden consistently bowling at 120s. You
Mm,
know, like and he's one of the prospects, as a
It depends what
replacement for
format we
Lily.
look at,
That's the thing
because I
there.
mean, a lot of the bowlers that bowl 130, 135, roundabout there, in they've added a lot of slower deliveries to their into their arsenal more consistently in white ball cricket, particularly T20 cricket. We've seen that been done with Lungi Ngidi as well. I mean, his stock delivery is almost a slow delivery, slow cutter or something. So,
Mm.
um, when you don't have raw pace, like you don't have Gerald or Andrich's raw pace, a lot of the bowlers will fall or trust a rather a slower delivery as a consistent delivery, taking pace off the ball, because it really makes batters struggle. Um, but once a batter knows that it's coming regularly, consistently, that's where the problems come in. Then you can start timing it. Um,
Yes, I understand that in white ball cricket, Khalid, but
yeah,
what I saw in New Zealand, what I saw in that warm-up match in England, that was extremely disappointing. To see him
yeah,
bowling that
drop off so
slowly.
much.
Obviously something is happening. Because
I
they're very
don't,
talented.
Yeah, I don't know if they bulk up or they start gymming or something. Because I remember when Lungi came onto the scene, Lungi was tall, thin, lean, and he was bowling very quickly at that Red Bull cricket campus. He was cricket tournament where I think South Africa actually won that campus cricket tournament. He was bowling close to like 140s regularly, and he was quite lean. And then he got a major injury. I still remember interviewing him while he was learning the guitar. It was quite funny. um, and he said that he was starting to gym, and then he bulked up quite a bit, and I think that was a major reason for him losing pace. And then now he's lean again. He's more lean again now. And he's bowling a lot quicker now. We can see his pace has actually
Mm.
increased. So I think they mustn't gym as much. Don't do arm days so much. No, not so much bench pressing. Not so, or maybe bench pressing is fine. But I'm not so much bicep
And,
curls.
and have you noticed? And have you noticed how Rabada has maintained? Have you noticed how Rabada has maintained his physique? Yeah, from the time when he made his test debut, he's more or
Yeah,
less maintained that sort of lean physique. Which
yeah,
is, I think naturally for someone like Lungi is quite difficult. I
yeah.
think you can almost
I
put
think the
yeah.
I think the only macho fast bowler that I've seen is Junior Dala.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so I mean, there are minorities to the rules. There are exceptions to the rule, but I mean, yeah, it is what it is.
But looking at
Yeah,
this, sorry, looking at that comment there from Lawrence, I think Nandre is very very close, man. That injury, I think I did not like had that
yeah, I
injury.
threw him
I
off,
think he was the one that was going to play for South Africa Boxing
every
Day
season, bro,
against
every
India.
season he has some major injury, man. He's it's
And then
bloody unlucky.
someone comes up, and then they grab the opportunity. Same thing we saw with Marco Jansen, Wayne
Yeah,
Parnell as well. But I think it's coming, man. It's coming for him.
yeah, and he's left armor. We need left armors.
Absolutely.
Hussein Murchie says CSA should work on Brevis and become a leg spinning all rounder like Shut Up Khan. Ooh, I don't think so. Or possibly going back top of the order and then a wrist spinner. I know the wrist spinning thing is something that he's working on definitely. I know that he is keen to improve that part of his game from the conversations I've had with him. And I know that we also, when I spoke to Mandla Mashimbi, coach of the Titans, he also said that they are working on his spinning as well. They really back him as a wrist spinner too. Um, Leclerc says, guys, why did CSA retain Justin Salmons as batting coach? He's never played any first class cricket or international cricket. I think it is uh, placeholder
Was
until
it
they find
retained?
some.
He's not retained. Is it retained?
Not he's not retained for the Proteas. I know for the SAA. I think for the SAA side, I think he's going to be involved with that tour, with the Sri Lanka tour, and I
Mm.
think they are still searching for a permanent batting coach currently.
Mm. But for
Um,
me, like in general, the fact that a guy hasn't played first class cricket or international cricket means absolutely nothing. Jose Mourinho will look at where he is now as a coach. You know, and he doesn't have any of those experiences. You look at someone like Rulani at the moment at Mamelodi Sundowns, doesn't have professional experience, but look at what he's doing with that team. So I really don't believe in this. You must have experience. Yes,
Yeah.
it puts you at an advantage, but it really doesn't matter in my opinion.
Yeah. Literally saying, what about Gideon Peters? I remember Gideon Peters in 2017, I think, 2018, 2017 Coke Week. I think he was one of the all-rounders of the tournament. I think he hit 100 that tournament, and he also was bowling very quickly. He's also a very good player, someone that we must look out for. I mean, there's a lot of guys that are on the that haven't really necessarily lived up to the expectations quite yet, and they still young, quite young. Remember that
Mm,
COVID period blipped a lot of players, and I would even throw Bayer Swanepoel into that mix there because he's in that age group where COVID actually kind of blipped them in a way because nobody really knew about them because they didn't play. The first
mm,
season after COVID is when they really started taking off and started getting an opportunity to actually play. So the 2 years of their life, they were kind of, you know, 12
mm,
years of their life was kind of taken away. So we're going to see an influx of young talent, I think, Ongama, because there's a lot of players that the generation before Dieval Brevis would have not seen them or heard a lot about them because of COVID, and COVID messed that up for us
mm,
because we didn't play any cricket, so
mm,
we could maybe see an influx of certain players really coming through the season and really after maybe like someone like Tian van Vieren was very good at the 19
mm,
level. I mean, he's had now his a first full season playing cricket. We'll see how he develops, because he's
mm.
also a very
And
good player.
I'm just gonna put this out there. I think Bayer Swanepoel is a lot closer to playing for the Proteas than anyone in the country thinks. He's literally the only guy in the country that can swing the ball right now, in and out, consistently.
Mm,
There's no one else who does it like him. It's as if he's bowling at that level where Clanton Stearman, when he first came up in that Warrior side. That's what I see in Bayer Swanepoel. What a talent, man! It's really exciting. I think if he can like work on that talent that he has when it comes to the batting, it's very close, man. It's super close. It's just a matter of people actually going to the stadiums and watching these guys. There's a lot of talent, man. And I think Gideon is going to have an amazing opportunity at the Dragons. They've assembled a very good team, the competitive team, a team that has guys who haven't been seen for such a long time, and they want to be seen. They want to contend for spots in the national team. So, yeah, let's see how it goes. Let's see how it goes with Gideon.
mhm. Yeah, so guys, I'm about to get load shedding, so I'm gonna have to call it over here. But Ungama, thanks a lot for coming on the show, bro. I hope we can do a lot more of this. Every time I see your good article of you, I'm bringing you on, bro. We need to talk about it. I really enjoy your writing, and I really enjoy your pieces. Obviously, guys, Ungama, dear friend of mine for years. He's really helped out Cricket Fanatics from the beginning. When we started. So, thanks a lot for that article and doing that hard work in the media, Ungama. Keep it up and keep up the great work. Um, to the guys out there, thanks a lot for tuning in. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Click that notification bell for all future videos. Also, don't forget to download the latest issue of Cricket Fanatics magazine monthly. Every issue is 100% free, straight to your inbox every month. The link is on the screen as well as in the description. And if you guys want to help us out and make sure that we can maintain this platform and this business and do this content that we've been doing, please become a Patreon today. Link is on the screen and in the description. Smash the like button, comment and share. That's how we get into recommended feeds. And go to cricketfanaticsmag.com for all your regular daily updates. Thanks a lot, everybody. Thanks a lot, Ongama, for coming on the show as well. And I'll see you guys again very, very soon for another either exclusive interview or daily show. It's dependable right now, guys, because there's not much really happening at the moment. I have to go out there and actively seek content. So we'll see who we can nail for the rest of the week.
The real
Enjoy the
journalists
rest of
stand
your
out.
week, guys. Hey?
The real journalists stand out at this point of time.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, guys, so enjoy the rest of your evening, and I'll see you guys very, very soon. Peace out, everyone.